Hello team. My name is Scott Picken. I'm the CEO and founder of the Global Wealth Group, and I'm super excited to share with you in this short presentation about the $217 trillion real estate industry and how it is being disrupted by technology and how you can benefit. Now, I literally wrote the book on this. Back in 2014, this book came out, Property Going Global. It was endorsed by Clem Sunter. I did my dissertation in 1998 on how technology was going to change the real estate, property, and construction industry. I did my master's in London on the same topic. And I've literally spent 2 decades trying to marry together technology, real estate, and property. So let's get into a quick presentation here that I'd like to share with you in terms of this space and where it's going and why I believe it is so exciting and something that not only should you know about, but something that you can participate in. What's really interesting is that the PropTech, the FinTech, and the EdTech markets are the most progressive markets at the moment. They represent the greatest opportunities in terms of this technology disruption in the entire digital decade. Let me explain to you why. The first thing is that property investors have major issues. Literally, they generally invest in country. I just came off a presentation where Germany, and he was telling me that German investors tend to invest locally in German property. And then they tend to invest in residential property because it's just too difficult to get into commercial property or even international property. And that's not taking into account the barriers to entry like bank accounts, tax, structuring, finance, etc. In simple terms, the 99% just truly cannot invest like the top 1%. Now, when you look at the research, 49% of the world's wealth is held in real estate, and yet only 12.9% of the world's population actually has access to that real estate. And of that 12.9%, 94% of people statistically in England, Australia, and America will die broke. They'll either, by the age of 65, they'll either be dead, broke, or reliant on the government. 5% will be financially independent, which means that they earn less than 25% below their last paycheck, and only 1% will retire wealthy. Literally 100 people are starting a race. We're not talking about the poor, we're talking about the middle class and the professionals, where 100 people start a race and not even literally one person out of 100 finishes. And that's why we're changing the way people invest. Using technology, we're helping everybody to be able to invest like the top 1% in both real estate and other alternative investment assets. When you look at it, we've created a solution which is simple and safe. You can literally invest in minutes now. You get access to quality partners and quality opportunities. You can invest from $100. No more worry about hassle, management, maintenance, tax, structuring, bank accounts, literally just focusing on the best returns. The model is simple. It's a marketplace. We get world-class supply. They list their properties on the platform. You and I, as global investors, get access to them, and then we go through the simple investment process. Let me show you how it works. There's 4 simple steps. People sign up, they complete their profile, they fund their wallet, and they invest. And if you look at it live, literally you go to the platform. You then go in, you put in your details, you tick the different boxes which are relevant to you, and you literally sign up. That'll take you through to the registration page where you choose the country you come from, you choose the type of investor you are, and obviously depending on the country you invest in and the type of investor you are, from a compliance perspective, it then gives you a personalized compliance journey. Then you verify your account and you literally go into your profile and you have to put in all your different details. Just like any financial transaction, you have to KYC yourself. We take into account KYC and AML in terms of the overall process. It's all automated, no human interaction in terms of someone being able to go through the entire process. Then you basically go in and you submit all your documents. Again, all online, all verified in terms of someone being able to set. It tells them how to do it. If they do something wrong, it immediately pops up and tells them that it's the wrong type of format or how to do it, so that it assists them through the entire process. Now that you've done that, it's time to send your money to your wallet. Now, this gets really, really exciting because your wallet is a digital wallet. We've partnered with one of the biggest payment service providers in Europe called Lemonway. So your money is protected by European law, but it allows you to diversify and invest around the world. And you can literally go in, you deposit your funds into your wallet, and then it's your digital wallet. It's completely free for your money on the way in, your money on the way out, and holding your money, but it allows the investor to be able to go in and do the entire process. Then it's now time to invest. You go on the marketplace, you browse the investments, you can do real estate, you can do alternative investments, you can go through all the different deals, you can look at all the different deals, you can understand all the information. For the purposes of this presentation, I'm wanting to keep it short, but you can go read through all the risks, you can download the documentation, you can go to the projected returns calculator. We believe very much in trust and transparency, so people can see exactly what the fees are. They're not hidden on page 32 of a prospectus. They can see what their returns are, what the costs are, and their full cash flow schedule, and they can browse between the different investments. Now it's time to go and invest. And someone has actually gone in and they've decided they want to invest in this deal in Portugal, and they're going to invest $500. And they literally go in, they click on the transaction, they tick the different boxes, they digitally sign the agreements, they download and can see the agreements, but they digitally sign it, and they go make the investment. And at this point, they've literally invested in Portugal. Now they can do this in England, they can do this in Europe, they can do this in America, they can do this in Australia. And so they can literally globally become a global citizen, have global diversification across countries, across currencies, across assets, and across partners. And that's what's so super exciting. Our track record to date is we've got members in 164 countries. We've had over $100 million go through the platform, facilitated over $630 million in deals. We've paid out $8 million in dividends. And one of the things we pride ourselves of, we've got a 42% reinvestment rate, which means when Jill or Joe Soap invest, they consistently invest. And we've won numerous awards all over the world. What is our enterprise promise? Well, our purpose is to help solve the wealth gap. We make revenue through Private Wealth Global, which is our first class on an airplane. If you take an analogy, it's our first class. We got Wealth Migrate, that is our business class. And then we got Wealth Point, that is our platform. And I'll go through this in more detail. And the focus for the entire team is scalable operating profit. Now, what does that look like? Well, you can see there's many different parts of a real estate transaction. We've got Wealth Point, which is the platform that sits in the middle. It facilitates multiple different distribution channels in terms of the demand side, and it also facilitates multiple different supply channels on the supply side. To look at that another way, you've basically got the Global Wealth Group supply and structuring. You've got quality partners. So we're looking for 15 quality partners around the world that come from different countries and different asset classes. And if they're bringing 3 to 4 deals a year, that's 60 deals in total. That's ample diversification. It's 1 deal a week for investors. And then we got multiple distribution channels, be they our own marketplaces, be they our venture building partners on the genre basis or the geography basis, like we've got in China, like we're setting up in India, or maybe Women in Wealth, or even Yachties in Wealth as an example, or financial planners. When you look at the value proposition, you can see here, we haven't launched Wealth Create yet, but that would be our economy class on the plan. Then we'd have Wealth Migrate, which is our business class, and we've got Private Wealth Global, that is our first class. If you look at it, Wealth Migrate is where we've built the business. They tend to be entrepreneurs, doctors, farmers, consultants, and self-employed. They want something that's easy, simple, and safe. They're not interested in lawyers, bank accounts, hassle, structures. They want to be in control of their own decisions. They want diversification. They want a variety between local and global. They are happy to pay transaction fees, but they're not interested in assets under management fees. They want it automated and mobile, and they want it online. And when you look at the power of where retail investors are going, Kathy Wood says, don't underestimate the little guy coming to investing. Equity crowdfunding is changing the private markets public. We think that fractional investing represents the future. Retail investors used to be wrong, says veteran Wall Street institutional trader, Tiger Williams. Not anymore. Now you got 50 million of them all tied together, and they really matter. We launched a high net worth brand, institutional brand, and these people are looking for generational wealth. These people tend to be $100,000 plus. Wealth Migrate from $1,000 to $100,000. And in 2023, we'll launch Wealth Create, which will be $1 through to $1,000. It's all about gamification and social proofing and working together, and it's about a mobile solution. On the supply side, we've equally got a range of options for our supply partners to enable them to really get maximum benefit, to grow their profitability, to get global distribution, and to build their digital track record. From a compliance and regulation space, this is really where we've spent the last 10 years and where there's a huge amount of intellectual property. We do due diligence at the investor level, sponsor level, deal due diligence, money movement, setup structuring and compliance, marketing, and even down to data protection. We've got some incredible partners around the world. I've mentioned Lemonway, Capital International, one of the biggest clearing houses in the world. And we were actually the very first company in Africa to get crowdfunding as a regulation. Worked on it for over 10 years, set up the African Crowdfunding Association in 2015, and finally got the regulation at the back end of 2020, which means that now in Africa and in South Africa specifically, we can go mainstream. When you look at the model, in simple terms, Wealth 5.0 is where the world is going. You've got operations, you've got tech, you've got compliance. On the left-hand side, you've got supply, and on the right-hand side, you've got demand. And the flow is members, transactions, and revenue. And what we find with most of our partners, they have one of these pieces of the puzzle, and we bring the rest together. About 18 months ago, we had a partner come to us with an alternative investment. So we were only doing real estate, and they brought Cashbox, came along with structured notes. And we actually realized that we had built a primary market book building system. A secondary market is like the stock market. And if you think of the massive growth that's happened in the secondary market, the opportunity now lies in the primary market. And we've now got alternative investments. And as an example, we're about to launch a whole solar energy and renewable energy, etc. So where does the next 5 years go? And where does this opportunity take us? Well, when you look at the research that was done by PwC, the wealth market is expected to grow to 145 trillion by 2025. 60% of global assets under management will seek active management growth by 2025. 21 trillion in 8 years' time will be real estate, private equity, and debt, and that's going to more than double in size. Really, really exciting. And 25% of global assets under management are seeing passive investment growing significantly. So if we look at that in terms of those research, you can see that it grew from 84.9 million to 111 trillion, and it's going to grow to 145 trillion by 2025. They're expecting to see fewer firms managing far more assets, significantly more cheaper, faster growth in Latin America and Asia Pacific, and the alternative investments, real estate, private equity, and private debt will more than double, reaching 21 trillion by 2025. And active investments will continue to lose market share to the passives and the alternatives, which is really where it gets super exciting. Now, I don't have time to go into all these details, but you can see where to focus. It's the growth in the middle class around the world. Where is the population growth happening? Where is their technology adoption? Where is their urbanization? The middle class is more than doubling over the next 10 years. And if you were to capture just 1% of the alternative market, that would be 211 billion. 10% of that would be 21.1 billion. And if you were to earn a 1% fee on just that, you would have a $200 million revenue per year. Now, that's in the primary markets. If you look at the secondary markets, the value's already been extracted. Robinhood has just raised 2.4 billion, and even one of its rivals is trading at over $1 billion. And these are companies that have digitized the secondary market, investing into the stock market. But the primary market is where the opportunity holds itself. And when you look at it, Elon Musk did the same with Tesla. He said, I have a secret master plan. Don't tell anyone about it, but we're going to build a sports car. Then we're going to use that money to build an affordable car. Then we're going to use that money to build an even more affordable car. And finally, we're going to do all of that while making zero emission electric power generation options. We had the same option. Back in 2014, our business model was simple. We went after investors with $100,000. And as you can see, over time, the sophistication comes down, but the ability for fees and income goes up. We got down now at $100. We're at this intersection, and one day we'll get to $1. And this is the way that we're doing it. But the way that we changed this was with our digital wallets. As Kathy Wood said, and she's one of the most successful investors in entrepreneurial technology, she said digital wallets are the future. They represent a $4.6 trillion opportunity in your pocket. And for every investor, it creates value for the business. We've got 1,600 investors that would value our business alone at $32 million today. If you look at the platforms around the world, there's platforms in America, there's platforms in England, there's platforms in Dubai, there's even a platform out of the Seychelles, there's platforms in Asia or Australia. But when you catch an Uber, when I catch my Uber and use this app, why would I want to have a different app in every place? Why would I want to have a different app to manage every partner in every country with every currency and every asset class? It sounds like so much pain and hassle and admin and complexity. So we decided at Wealth Migrate to make it easy for people. They can manage everything all in one place, simply and safely. Is it sustainable? Well, when you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, literally the number one thing that the UN came up with when they crowdsourced it was to solve poverty. And I don't just mean poor people on $1 per day. I mean the middle class. I mean the aging population where pensions are not working, where people have had enough of the current system because it's not providing for their retirement. It's not providing for their life. And that is about empowering everyone to be able to invest like the top 1%. I leave you with a thought, and this guy his name is Roger Hamilton. He has basically digitized the ed tech space over the last 10 years. He's currently listing on the New York Stock Exchange for somewhere between $500 million and $1 billion. And this was him. He's been one of my advisors for the last decade, helping me because he's been ahead of me in the ed tech space, how we could do it within the PropTech space.
But you have to do that because the democratization of real estate is going to be the biggest change that happens in fintech beyond anything else in terms of it's going to disrupt more than the banking system. It's going to disrupt more than what's happening in stocks and shares. It's going to disrupt because basically property is the one last non-distributed asset. I mean, that's just the basics. It's like the process to buy a property is the most ridiculous thing ever if you actually think about it. And it could be as easy as basically buying a stock or a share, right? And that's what is going to happen for sure.
So where to from here? Well, it's all about Wealth 5.0. I don't have time to go into this today, but it's about your impact, your creativity, your high touch, your high tech, and your digitization. We've built a meta marketplace, a combination of global marketplaces, local marketplaces. You can see at the center, we've got WealthPoint, which is our digital platform with our wallets and global compliance. We then built Wealth Migrate, our first global real estate marketplace. We then built the Wealth University and the Wealth Movement. We launched Wealth China back in 2016. Genius U, who is that gentleman, Roger Hamilton, is currently listing on the New York Stock Exchange. We raised their first capital for them. We've got localized property partners in England. And then we built out Cashbox, like I mentioned. We launched Private Wealth Global, and this is where we stand right at the moment. But where we're going, we're about to launch Wealth SA. We're then going to launch Sharia compliant and wealth. We're going to launch Women in Wealth, which was what we call genre compliant. We're then looking to launch Wealth India by the end of this year. And with time, all the different localized markets, we want to launch Millennials in Wealth. And finally, we'll launch Wealth Create. And you can see how the whole meta marketplace comes into play. Now, if you want to see it in a stage plan, phase one was from 2015 to 2020. It was to focus on the high net worth investors, $100,000. We got it down to $1,000. We had to figure out all the different complexities around how do you scale, banking, structuring, compliance, wallets, etc. We've not done that. Phase two, which is where we've just gone into this year, is all about venture building. It's about scalable operating profit. It's about growing the transactions through the marketplace in a twofold combination of operations and venture building. We'll continue to build our three core platforms of Wealth Create, Wealth Migrate, and Private Wealth Global. And then through venture building, we will grow both our genre and geographical based partnerships. And then finally, our third phase will be the Wealth Meta Marketplace, where we're bringing together a combination of both local and global partners. They'll be investing at all different investment levels in all different directions. And ultimately, it'll all be about putting smart investing in every single person's pocket and helping to close the wealth gap. I think when you look at it, you can see our milestones in terms of what we aim for each year. This year was minimum viable product for Private Wealth Global, making Wealth Migrate predictable and building out the venture building process. Next year, it's about launching the mobile solution with the wealth system. 2023 is about launching Wealth Create. 2024 is 1 million active and engaged members, and 2025 is $1 billion in equity going through the wealth system. We've built a comprehensive team of people across geographies and across experiences that you can go and look at, whether it's our CFO in the UK that has tremendous experience in building out high growth tech companies, our CEO in China, Gabriela Forrest, that runs our revenue, Gavin, that is our CTO, Lyndon Booth, that is our PMO, our head of digital, our head of compliance. We've got incredible advisors, both in the fintech real estate space and in the blockchain space. And if you want to know about our financials, you can see that our revenues are growing nicely. The gap between the revenues and the OPEX are decreasing. We can give you all the forecasts. We can explain to you the fundraise that we're doing. We are raising a $3 million raise in terms of where we're going from a growth funding perspective. We've got everything in place. We've got great platform. We've got great compliance. We've got great supply. And we've got great regulation. And now it's all about growing the distribution in terms of the opportunity that lies for investors. When you look at a competitor analysis, there's plenty of companies out there that have raised capital at far higher valuations than ourselves, but they're all localized. We're the only global solution, and you've got the ability to be part of a global solution headquartered out of London and Hong Kong, where you can not only participate in the fintech, PropTech growth around the world, but you can also do it in a distributed and diversified approach. So what's the opportunity for investors? Well, we're basically presenting two opportunities. Of the $3 million, there is $1 million in convertible debt. There's $1 million in private equity, being able to invest directly in equity, and there's $1 million for strategic partners. Now, when you look at how tech companies traditionally worked, you would tend to only get involved in Facebook or Amazon once they're actually listed in an IPO. Few people get invited to the party of being able to invest in like an Uber or an Airbnb kind of prior to it going to, IPO. You also don't want to get involved in a company right at the beginning of the startup that has no traction, no market fit, no product market fit, etc. With the Global Wealth Group, you've got the opportunity to be involved with a high growth business, an existing global team, and an existing track record. And lastly, in terms of exit strategies, people say to us, what are the exit strategies? How am I going to get my money back? What's the return on capital? Well, we're aiming to work within a 5 to 7 year timeline. We believe that there's 3 to 4 different exit strategies. The one is literally liquidity, which is built into the shareholders agreement, where we aim to build out an annual liquidity event. Secondly is a strategic sale. That's where we sell to a social media platform like a Facebook, a bank or investment firm, a REIT, or a real estate company that is trying to move into this digital era, and we've already got the global distribution. The third is a dual listing between the London Stock Exchange and the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. And the fourth, it might be a little bit out there for some people's mindset, but it's tokenization of the entire business. And we're looking to, within that 5 to 10 year period, looking to between 8 to 10x people's capital, conservatively even 5x people's capital. Is there risk? Certainly. It's a private equity in a high growth company. Is the opportunity? Tremendous, tremendous opportunity. And so that's all from me. I want to stop sharing my screen here quickly and just remind you, it's really wonderful to be able to share this experience with you. One of the things is we're a community company where we've got investors from 42 countries around the world. We've already got over 860 investors that are part of the company. I believe it's the greatest asset in the company. Why do people invest? For one of 3 reasons. Firstly, they want to see a return on their investment. They want to make a profit. Secondly, they want to be part of a global, like-minded network where they can learn, grow, and invest together and become global citizens. And the third is they want to have a purposeful endeavor. They want to make a profit, but they want to have a life of legacy where they're having a bigger picture purpose on this planet. If one of those 3 don't resonate with you, then don't contact us because it's not for you. But if you're the right fit, we would love to welcome you to join our global community on our profitable and purposeful journey. Please connect with us. We'd love to invite you into our global community and let you be part of this journey, which has been so exciting, but it's only just getting started as the airplane is taking off. Speak to you soon. Cheers.